Hi, folks. Chris Gonzo Gondek here again for another NetApp Newsworthy Minute. Today, I'm joined by one of our prominent partners in New South Wales, Gamma Group, and I'd like to introduce you all to Jeremy Tang from Gamma Group. Jeremy, welcome to today's NetApp Newsworthy Minute. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at Gamma Group?
Hey Chris, thanks for having me. Yeah, so basically my role within Gamma is quite varied. So we've been around for about 15 years. Initially, we used to do a lot of professional services for a lot of customers and global system integrators and vendors. And my role's at the moment split between doing managing the managed services side of the business and the hosted compute side of the business, as well as doing project delivery, pre-sales, general marketing and things like that. So my role is
Wow,
quite varied, and I've been with Gamma, over 10 years,
fantastic.
still going strong. Yeah.
Awesome. That's quite quite a busy role you've got there. And tell me something. How long have you been working with NetApp related technologies?
That's a good question. So it takes me back a little bit. With NetApp or Network Appliance, I started back when Hitachi used to sell them as G filers, and ONTAP 7 was a new thing. So we're looking back at about 16 years, I've been dabbling
Wow,
into NetApp, and I've got a soft spot for ONTAP 7 and DFM because I used to spend a lot of time with that
fantastic.
product. Yeah.
Wow. So I guess while we're talking about your experience with NetApp over the years, you've obviously seen NetApp evolve and innovate over that time. And right now, we're talking a lot about the user experience as infrastructure environments have become more complex over time and are changing. And one of the most prominent, I guess, technologies throughout that 16 years was the introduction of virtualization. And probably the same for you. My first foray into virtualization was VMware, and a lot of us have been exposed to virtualization through VMware over the years. Still very prominent globally, and so I remember you and I were having a conversation around your experience with NetApp and VMware, and we got to start talking about the vCenter plugin. That NetApp offers for some of the range of our products. Can you tell us a little bit about your experiences with vCenter plugin, and how did you first find out about it?
Yeah, so I mean the plugin's been around for a while, but I guess it's come into my prominence or my periphery um, more recently because of the deployments we've been doing, where sort of there's no, the IT sort of landscape sort of changed a little bit, and we're seeing a lot of more IT generalists, and particularly some of the customers we're working with, they've sort of reduced headcount, and IT sort of storage admins are doing very different roles, and so I'm helping a lot of customers where they don't have that particular skill set with NetApp, and the implementations are purely virtualized, and the plugin helps with these sort of environments where they don't have that particular skill set. They're sort of virtual VMware admins. They've never seen NetApp before, and it sort of opens the doors for them to manage NetApp and
Actually,
provision storage.
you've touched on a really good point there. The term IT generalist, and you think about different sizes of businesses, but also prior to VMware making a prominent impact and virtualization, we probably had very strict disciplines and teams: a server team, a storage team, a network team. And
Yep.
then suddenly you are kind of thrust into owning and operating all of these collectively when you implement virtualization such as VMware. And
Mm,
so, you're right that it created the IT generalists.
yeah.
The IT team got slimmed down, and they got more responsibility suddenly in areas which used to be isolated disciplines. I guess the vCenter plugin would have helped, as you say, because their user experience is the vCenter interface. Why not
Yeah.
try and consolidate and organize the experience through that?
Yeah. So I mean, it empowers those guys that without the skill sets in NetApp to drive to where they need to go, so they can do cloning, they can, align to best practices, they can do what they need to do in their particular setup without having to know the ins and outs or do all the tuning, things like that.
Fantastic. So,
So
so
yeah, NetApp's a storage administrator's storage. So giving there's a lot of knobs and things you can tweak with NetApp, and sort of giving the administrator the ability to do that helps a lot, I guess, in that
you're
sense. They're
empowering those
empowering
users,
them to,
empowering them
yeah,
with more
that's right.
features. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, tell me something then. In your experience working for Gamma Group and working with various different customers and deployments over the 16 years that you've been working with NetApp technology, in terms of our user experience through the vCenter plugin, how does that differ from other solutions that you've used or seen?
Well, NetApp, it's got a few differences, right? As I said, there's a few NetApp do. It's a unified storage array, so there's different ways we can present storage up the stack. So that particular plugin provides, first of all, alignment, where we can align, or it sort of notifies if there's VM misalignment, so it can fix those problems, lines with best practices, helps with MPIO settings and best practices up the iSCSI stack.
Nice.
So I don't see that a lot with other plugins. I've worked with a few other plugins. Some of them are quite, uh, you know, general, where you just can provision storage, but NetApp sort of takes it a little bit deeper, where we can it makes the changes for you, if you can
Wow.
say. So for example, the iSCSI settings within the virtual storage console, it'll offer to make those changes for you.
Wow.
So it makes it easy. Yeah.
Okay. So there's probably a little bit of somewhat artificial intelligence built into this, right? It's not just the functions you could do through the NetApp interface. We're now letting you do through the vCenter plugin interface. There's some other extra kind of, I
Yeah,
guess,
there's a little
magic behind the curtain, right?
Yeah, there's a little, it helps with, or any help you can get's, great. So it helps the administrators with aligning the best practices. But I mean, that sort of, there's always room for improvement. I think, getting that AI aspect and the machine learning aspect is something probably quite useful, where potentially it may lead on to, pulling data from Active IQ back onto the console, and with performance metrics or capacity trending, or things like, or that sort of aspect.
Awesome. So
Yeah.
I guess overall, to kind of summarize, in all your years of working with NetApp technology, the vCenter plugin is making it easier for some of our IT generalists out there who have multiple responsibilities. They're looking after virtual infrastructures through VMware. Having the vCenter plugin really enables them to simplify their operations and management of these environments while maintaining those performance levels and SLAs that they need. Across all of that, are there any improvements you think we can make to the vCenter plugin?
I think maybe a good improvement, or potentially, I'm not sure how hard it is to do, but bringing that machine learning and AI aspect back into the plugin. I know some other technologies out there to be able to pull that information back in potentially. So I know NetApp, we could, with Active IQ, you could do, it does the health checks, all the performance metrics, best practice alignment. That information pulled back in to Virtual Console might be useful. Not sure how hard that is to do, but that could help.
Who knows? Maybe the next time we catch up, we'll be talking about exactly that feature if the
Yeah.
product management team are listening.
All good.
Awesome. Jeremy, thank you so much for your time. We really value when our partners and our customers come out and speak with us about their positive experiences with our technology. Jeremy Tang from Gamma Group, we hope to have you back again one day and hear about your ongoing experience with our technology. Thanks again for joining us on this NetApp Newsworthy Minute.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for having me.
Fantastic.